Well, I think I got a pretty competent group if I need assistance. So,
Cool.
so we
To,
can
to
continue traveling.
407. Yep.
All right,
Do you
cool.
want to do?
407.
Well, these lines, don't we get a boost or a bonus?
No,
For...
it's just showing you known space. You can travel through
Okay.
without having to roll a 12 or anything crazy like that. Yeah, cool. So 407, roll a 7 plus. No problem. You're rolling a lot of 7s today, dear.
I know, Jesus.
It's a good thing you didn't take that double jump, man. I thought you were going to. So again, 407 is just like 206. It's kind of in between space. It's not necessarily there's nothing really going on. Like you might meet some ships in passing at the fueling station, but there's not a whole lot of traffic. Cool. Unless you guys want to go do something, like go discover stuff. That's totally something you could do. You guys could go hide in the asteroid field and become pirates if you want to. And just jump on ships that go to use fuel scoops, trying to avoid having to pay the exchange rate. I'm saying this because that's 100% something that occurs, just so you know. Like, there's 100% ships that attempt to avoid paying the exchange rate and just doing fuel scoops instead, and they just get jumped by pirates and robbed.
So what you're telling us is not or is to continue using the exchange rates.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Seems like a good idea.
All right, I rolled for 506.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Cool.
I don't know about you guys, but I have backup characters, so you all do what you want.
Cool. So you guys arrive at 506. Hooray! We made it.
We did things.
Cool.
Well, kind of.
Awesome.
I did things. It's fine.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys arrive at 506. So that was another 7 days. So let's move another 7 days. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen because I was doing stuff to the ship screen. All right. Oh, damn it! I hate it when I do that. I should put it on the map layer, but then the hex is all over and it gets annoying. So it is the 26th of February. Hooray!
Hooray.
Much shorter journey than previous. So during the 7-day journey, you guys have some interaction with Natalia. She seems friendly enough. She seems very interested in what all of you do and kind of like getting to know you. And I think Gogo, you're probably the first approached, primarily because you were not like formally introduced, right? So I imagine you're probably on the bridge, like with your headphones on, or not headphones on. Never mind, that's stupid. With the stereo like right next to the bridge computer, like blaring your death metal or whatever you're listening to.
It's jazz, guys. It's just jazz.
Oh right,
Blaring her Coltrane.
right. Yeah, that's right. It's Death Coltrane.
It's Miles Davis today. It's fine.
Death Miles Davis. I love it. Yeah. So you're sitting there doing that, and she comes up, and she says, "Oh, it is Miles Davis, yes."
She spins around in the chair and she goes, "It certainly is. Are you a fan?"
She does the hand symbol, like she waves it back and forth. She's like, eh. She's like, it's okay. I prefer Coltrane myself.
Her jaw like drops, and she just like goes into a rant about how amazing Coltrane is.
Right, and she's just like politely listening the whole time. She makes like the right sounds at the right time, like when you're like, oh my god, and when they came out with that track number 12, and she's like, oh yes, yeah. Making all the polite sounds and just kind of gets you to spill a lot of like, oh, this is I like this, and then I'm sure like your rant goes into other places like fashion or clothes or whatever you talk about, whatever you're passionate about your character. And I think she has like a similar scene with like everybody else, right? Like let's see, Oscar, you're probably next because you're probably the most intriguing because you're an alien. And so she catches you. Where does Oscar like hang out like casually, if it's not like in his room, or like do you sip the soy calf in the mess hall?
I think it's probably how he was found the the first episode. Like he's just kind of sitting cross-legged somewhere,
Sure.
like drifting, like a couple inches off the ground. Like maybe he's not stationary.
Sure. Do me
But
a
he's
favor.
just
Roll
kind
me a
of-
perception
yeah.
check.
Sure. I will do that in just a second.
Using wisdom, obviously.
Perception.
Nice.
Not bad.
Cool. So you're probably in like one of the cargo bays. Have you named your pet yet, by the way?
Stanley.
Stanley. Okay, so
Yes!
do you have Stanley with you?
I mean, you know what's probably happening is I am so Oscar's sitting cross-legged and he's maybe like 2-3 feet off the ground,
Sure.
and maybe he's running around underneath him, like trying to snap at his heels, like not menacingly.
Yeah, he's like trying to. Yeah.
But,
Sure.
yeah, he's like, hey, pay attention to me.
Right. Yeah. Sure. So he's like sliming around on the ground.
Yeah. That's what she walks in on.
Yeah, cool. And I think she comes up and like you notice her and she leans against like the bulkhead door for like maybe like a few minutes and like cross, one leg over the other, like cross arm, just observing. And you're not one to like engage first, right?
That it depends.
If she sits there,
what is my perception check by me?
Your perception it was to know that she was there.
Oh.
Yeah,
Sure.
To notice
So,
that she
yeah.
was present in the room. It's not that she was inherently trying to be stealthy, but she has some things going on, right? Like she's naturally
Plus-
a bit lithe and stealthy.
Yeah. Plus he is.
Plus you're like
Oscar
meditating, right? Like
in his thoughts.
Right,
So I think.
exactly.
Yeah. He notices, and he says, I think after she stands there for a short while, he says, how have you been enjoying your trip thus far?
She goes, "Oh, I've been enjoying it well. Where did you train?"
I was trained by the. Excuse me if I don't wish to talk about it in detail. I was trained by my family.
Are you from Raimondi?
That is correct. You are.
Home
Are
planet.
you familiar with this Shriek?
I've had some dealings with some families, yes.
And I with yours.
She like nods, like that moment of like the two of you like, yes, indeed. And yeah, I think she
I
says
see you two get around.
right, exactly. And then yeah, so she observes you for a little while and she says, "Well, it seems you are quite far along. Telekinesis, yes?"
It's difficult to judge my progress, but it has been a lifelong pursuit of mine. Yes.
Yeah, she kind of looks at you and she says, "Well, it is much easier for your kind than mine."
Still attainable. Do you have any aptitude?
So she does
Or
the thing.
just a
Yeah, so she does the thing where she puts like the
curiosity?
finger on the side of her nose, she taps it a few times, and she goes, I believe that all humans have aptitude, if they believe hard enough."
And how hard do you believe?
So I think you need to roll me a mental effects save.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I'm good at.
Mm.
Watch me whiff though.
I would love it if you whiffed.
Oh my god! No way! I mean, it's still 50-50, but yeah, he barely fails.
Perfect. So
Son of a bitch.
So you feel your psi energy drain out of you rapidly, and you have to disengage the telekinesis that you're currently using, or crash to the ground.
Do I sink?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I think you sink to the ground, and like it's out of nowhere. It's almost like what you're attempting to maintain is far harder than you originally intended it to be.
Yeah.
And
so
like as she walks away, that's what happens.
Interesting. Yeah. So suddenly he becomes very weary.
Yeah.
That's the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think he exactly chases off after her, but.
Mental note.
Yeah. Because if she has turned tail and left, then
she didn't turn tail. She casually she did the tap on the nose thing and pointed at you, and then turned around and walked away. And then as she did that, that's when the energy started to drain. But you notice as well, like as she leaves, like you're like that was weird. But like you're starting to like recover from whatever occurred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, in his training, I think Oscar understands, he doesn't need an explanation for what just occurred.
Yeah. Whether or not it's ever been used on you before, that's another story, but you probably understand what the idea of it is.
I think in his training, it's probably something like, how, like cops and prison guards have to get maced and tased.
Yep, absolutely.
In their it's probably something like that.
Yeah, and it's probably this is why we train you to use a sword as well.
Exactly.
This is why we train you not to rely on psychic powers, because they can be taken away from you.
Yeah, cool.
And then I think she heads off. And then I think during the week we see another scene, probably with Boomer this time. And Boomer, you're probably in the engine room. Working on Hooch or whatever, maybe actually doing work on the engine like you're supposed to be, but I doubt it. And I think that you hear the doors behind you just psst, and they open up, and you don't hear like the padded feet of her walk in, but like I think that you can smell like her perfume, because you've probably been smelling it all around the ship lately because you're weird. Like you sense it like waft in, and it's clearly not Go-Go, and it's clearly not any of the other two, because they don't really come and visit you. And Fortune, even though he takes showers, he just has this permeating smell about him that and he also just he stomps quietly around, right? Like it's really weird is how he works.
I wouldn't even pause on what I'm doing to look to see who it is. Just as I hear the door open and that realization kind of strikes, just Miss Dormer.
And she goes, please call me Natalia.
Natalia.
She goes, what are you working on?
A ship like this, you got to keep it in constant repair. How about you? How is the time passing?
Slowly. I'd never liked space travel.
I was led to believe that this was going to be a little bit more difficult.
How so?
Careful.
Shh. No metagaming.
With a crew like this, sometimes you just have the expectation for things to just go wrong. And with that, he'd just kind of start mopping up his hands on a rag, and then just kind of turn towards her.
Yeah. I think she when you turn towards her, she's actually looking at like whatever computer console you have like on the ship. There's like one like right next to the engine bay, and you see her just like kind of looking at the schematics and stuff like floating across the screen. But as you turn towards her, she like turns towards you to address you, and she says, "Yes, with an alien, especially a Syriac, they can be quite violent. The one on the ship seems to be amicable, but some people are not so much in favor of aliens. Did you know he was a psychic?"
Yes. Is that strange?
No. Not for his kind, at least.
as we're talking, I would actually reach into my coat and take out the flask and offer it to her.
Sure, yeah, you offer her the flask. And she kind of like, she raises an eyebrow and she accepts it and she runs it under her nose once. She goes, "What is this?"
Where I'm from, it's actually a delicacy. And please, I don't want to be too forward, but it's a way of inaugurating friendship. I offer you a drink from my flask so that we can be more amiable. You asked me to call you Natalia. Please.
So yeah, I think that she smiles politely, but behind it, you can definitely sense like some amount of like maybe a little bit being put off. And she says to you, she says, "Well, that is mighty kind of you, but friendship is something that is earned, not drank over." And she hands it back.
Just a very weary smile. Just, it doesn't quite fully form, but I take the flask from her and put it back in my coat. No, I fully understand. Is there something particularly I can help you with, or have you sought me out?
Oh, I'm simply just getting to know the crew. If we're going to be stuck on this rust bucket for another few days, I figure perhaps I should be at least cordial. Would not want to be a hermit locked in my room all the time. And you are such interesting characters.
Oh, that's not even the half of it.
Right. So yeah. So she nods and she looks and she says, "Well, I guess there is nothing left for us to talk about."
I just nod to her politely in the dismissal and turn back to the panel.
Boomer will remember this.
Yeah, Boomer will remember this. Got it. So she kind of like, she does a smile, and like as Boomer turns around, I think the audience can see. She kind of like, her smile kind of fades and her lips get like thin line, and she like is clearly like recording something in memory. And then she walks out. The audience can see that. Obviously, Boomer has already turned around. Something about that interaction disturbed her in some way. So then I think we come across Fortune, who's probably working out because we've determined that's all Fortune does while we're traveling.
Yeah.
And
drinking hooch at the same time.
Right, yeah, and drinking hooch, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that she finds you in probably the cargo bay because now you have some room to work out in, or one of the cargo bays. Maybe it's the upstairs one. Let's go with the upstairs one.
Okay.
And so yeah, you're working out up there, and she walks in. It's probably like early morning. And you can see she's not in like normal clothing. She's in like also workout gear. And as she like enters, she kind of like has a bit of a surprise on her face, and she's like, "Oh, I was not aware that you worked out up here. I can leave if you are busy."
Like right before, do I notice she comes in, or does she surprise me?
No, yeah, like when she walks in, she like apologizes for intruding upon your workout space.
Okay, I'm like I'm in mid rep and I'm like 1001, 1002.
Right. You're actually on like 10, but like you say 1001, 1002. Yeah, got it.
And then I get done and I act like I'm real tight. I'm like, "No, it's fine. You can stay."
She nods, and she's got like a towel, and she's in like, you know, like a tank top with a sports bra or whatever. And like I mean, I want to say yoga pants, so probably yoga pants. Or the equivalent of space yoga pants.
Did Lululemon survive this scream?
I mean, obviously.
God.
Why wouldn't they have? They're actually Vera Bradley yoga pants. So they're like that bright ass flower print design.
This whole conversation amuses me greatly. Just so you all know.
the fact that Matt and I both know like designer name brands
Yes.
that can name them off and what they look like. Yeah.
Listen, yoga pants typically contain things I enjoy. Therefore,
God, let's not.
I was about to say.
It's like
There is
if
no
you
way
like
yoga
a
pants didn't
particular
survive.
candy bar, you know what the wrapper looks like.
It's God's gift to man. Is what yoga pants
That's great. Okay. That's enough. That's enough bigotry for the day. So yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not.
uh-huh.
I'm just.
So yeah, she begins. You see that she like gets in like a yoga stance. Like she's got her legs like folded up, cross-legged,
Mm-hmm.
and she begins to like stretch out. She's doing like some light yoga at this point.
Okay.
She doesn't like engage after that though, unless you engage her.
I keep working out, and then in between reps, I'm sipping my hooch.
Sure. Yeah, so I think that you notice the room begins to like heat up a little bit. Like the cargo room begins to heat up a little bit abnormally. Now you do know that this cargo room in particular is directly next to the extra power, like the power supply, the power generator that's on the ship.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like she's changed poses a few times and doesn't seem to be perturbed by it.
Okay. For now, I just keep working out then.
Cool. I need you to roll me a physical effect save.
Okay.
Now I determine what other branches of psychic she has.
How do I do that?
Just click on the physical effect save. Just click on the little roll next to it. As long as you've got the number inputted from your character, which should be, as a warrior, you should be pretty good at it. Should be a 12. So you need to roll 12 or higher on a d20, basically.
Third bar leftmost.
And then okay.
Yeah, awesome. So Fortune, your vision begins to like swim in front of you. You're sweating profusely, but now you've actually stopped sweating. And your skin's like kind of dry, and yeah, you feel the effects. You probably felt them before. You're clearly going into heat exhaustion, like pretty severely, and
Hooray.
you're in danger of having very ill
Passing
effect
out.
from this. And you look over and she appears fine. You don't even see a bead of sweat on her.
Probably you just stop drinking so much of this hooch.
Yeah, she opens like one eye and looks at you and says, "Well, perhaps you should." And then like she like comes to realization. She's like, "Are you in need of assistance?"
I didn't bring any water.
So yeah, she goes, "Huh. My apologies. Did I not mention that I would be turning the heat up in here?"
No, that was not mentioned.
Oh. It is warm yoga. Yes? I will get you water. And she goes over to like the refresher that's like in the next room. Actually, you're right by the like the water bay or whatever. And I think Giorgio is in there. And like she kind of looks at Giorgio for a moment, and Giorgio looks at her, and he sees her like grab the water, and Giorgio's like, why was she in the cargo bay, and why is she dressed like that? Like that's the look on his face. And like maybe you hear just like in the distance, because again like your head is swimming and like the sounds are like fading in and out. You're like about to pass out basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, you probably hear like Giorgio say what's wrong, and then you hear her like mumble something back, and he goes, oh my god, is he okay? And you hear her mumble something back, and he goes, okay. We should bring him to the med bay. I can check on him. And like you hear her then, like as she's walking back, she's like, okay, in a minute. And she comes in, and the door closes behind her. And she brings some water over to you, and kind of like rolls you on your back, and like gives you the water bottle, and like kind of helps you drink.
In between sips, I'm like, thank you.
She's like, yes, you will be fine.
I've been here before. I'll be all right.
Oh, where have you been in such bad heat exhaustion before?
Here or there. I've been around.
Oh, prior to the west wind, I assume.
Yeah. The west wind didn't really put me in situations that are that harsh anymore.
She like giggles at this, and she's like, yes. Well, I hope that is true for the future. Come, Giorgio says I must get you to the med bay.
He would say that.
She's like, you really should go though. Heat stroke is no laughing matter.
I'll get there.
Right. Yeah. So she like helps you to your feet. She's surprisingly strong, stronger than she looks, obviously. And she helps you like escorts you down. And you probably notice like you're coming to a little bit. You notice that like if there's a moment where like another crew member would be in the area, she like delays for a second, like almost as if she's trying to like avoid contact with them. Maybe for your sake, maybe for someone else's sake. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, and eventually she gets you to the med bay, and Giorgio like hooks you up on an IV, and like you get all squared away after a few hours.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I think we can go ahead and arrive. We drop out of drive space into 506. After all of you have recovered from your horrendous accidents, she's just walking all over you.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
This is what I should be good at, is physical saves. Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are just too distracted.
Right, yeah.
Well,
right,
obviously. Yeah.
Right, and so that's like, I think that's a good narrative point, right? Like, you're distracted. Like, you were trying to push yourself, you expressed that you were trying to push yourself a little too hard to be, like, impressive, and, you know, then you, oh, crap, I went a little too hard, and, you know, Oscar was kind of, like, Oscar wasn't necessarily showing off, right? But, like, he was, like, asking leading questions and trying to find out information, and maybe she didn't appreciate that, so, you know.
Hey, he got his answer.
Right, he got his answer, but
Did he
perhaps not in the way that he was expecting.
Yeah.
Cool. And technically so did Fortune, right? Like, Fortune got his answer as to whether or not she is, like, a durable individual, right? Like, is maybe in the moment he was trying to figure out how strong she was, right? Like, to see if she would compete, and he got his answer. Cool. So I think that we flash into 506. Everybody's probably like in the bridge, and in 506, let's go ahead and pull that up. 506, the Vendetta system, Firal. Let's go ahead and show this to everybody. So the Firal system is a breathable mix, temperature, hybrid biosphere. It's got 100,000 inhabitants, and the big tag is seismic instability.
And we can't edit this one either.
And what? I'm sorry?
We can't edit this one either. Or I can't.
I mean, so I think you're lying. You could try again, maybe. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can edit this now. So the big tag is seismic instability, right? And it is a tech level 4 planet, baseline post tech. So upon arrival, like you get a message, like, because you're out at like the edge of the system. You get a message like, "Welcome to the Vendetta system, home of the Shushu group." And then there's like another message, right, that pops up, and it's like, "Welcome to probably." I think we're just gonna keep on the theme here, right, with weird, like, Swedish Russian people that have Chinese and Japanese names and stuff. So I think that we're gonna go with the Shianabi Alliance is what we'll go with. Shianabi Alliance is gonna be the other person. So we've got the Shu group and the Shianabi Alliance. Cool. Just trying to express that weird separation from the real world where things are not quite as they seem. Cool. So you guys get like messages from those people, like it's like propaganda, right? But most of that is filtered out by your spam bot that I'm sure Boomer has installed by now, so you guys don't get spam.
Yeah.
And
How about Boomer?
Yeah. Most handy thing on the ship is the spam filter. So yeah, you guys arrive in system, and Natalia comes in, and she's like, she's clearly like working on her data slab, like, because she's just receiving a bunch of messages that were meant for her, right? And she says, feel free to refuel prior to arrival. We shouldn't have any problems getting in. I'm messaging the president now. So you guys go to the exchange station to refuel.
Yes.
Cool. So you guys head over to the exchange station, fill up on fuel. And then it's going to take you about 2 days of like sublight speed to get to Feral, because it is the 8th planet. And I think there's 10 planets in this system. So it'll take you a couple of days to get to the actual planet of travel time. So let me go here. Oh, god damn it. I did it again. Cool. Oh my god, why?
Did you find that it was easier to move the calendar than the box?
Yes, all the time, always. Alright, cool.
There we go.
We did it.
Yay!
Awesome. So you guys spend your 2 days doing what have you, preparing. And the closer and closer you get, those of you that are observant, notice that Natalia is becoming a little bit. She's losing her cool like demeanor a little bit. And so I think at one point, like, Giorgio probably inquires. He's like, is something wrong? And she's like, and those of you that want to can overhear this. She says, well, my planet is known for its instability. It appears that there has been a massive quake that is occurred at the capital. There are many injured and hurt. The president has declared it a hazard zone. We may have to land a little bit outside the city.
You hear Margot just be like, "It's no problem."
She like smiles like at Margot, like, oh yes, I know, dear. You'll get us right in there.
Wait, does she call me dear?
So I think
Yeah, probably.
She spins around in her chair and she just gives her like a look like, yeah, all right. Maybe I won't if you tell me that again, and then just turn back around.
Right, I think like she winks at you too, like when you turn around. Like, wink.
I think if Oscar is present, he
Now
says,
kiss. Sorry.
Oh my
Is
god.
that over the intercom?
Great.
Yeah, just from inside of the wall. Now kiss.
If Oscar is there, they're just meeting up on the bridge, right? This
is all happening in a common area. If you want to be there, you can be there.
So Oscar asks, does this change our mission parameters? Do you require extra? What I mean is this extra travel going to be dangerous?
So yeah, she kind of looks. She's like, "Oh no, it shouldn't be. It
Shouldn't.
No, of course not. There is not much dangerous wildlife on Furial. We are a Tech Level 4 planet, as you know, but I will just have to have a convoy meet me, and then we will travel from there. It should not mean anything extra for you, and you will still get paid accordingly."
Yeah, he accepts this.
Sure.
I think Oscar trusts that, being that they are already her escort on planet, that if that situation changes, he will hear about it.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Does anybody else react to this revelation?
Yeah, I'm like, I need to go get some supplies, and I disappear, and then I come back, and I've got my my revolvers on my thigh.
Sure, you're like equipped, like as you guys. Yeah, it's probably like as you guys are like entering like the actual space of the planet, right?
Yeah.
And you notice, like, typically, like, we would see you guys, like, just fly straight into the planet, because that's how the movies do it. But you notice that, like, there's a specific, like, you're actually commanded to stop Go-Go, for a certain time, and she explains it to you. She's like, oh, it is time for the, it does not, what the hell did I name those guys? I just fucking had it. Sector, 506, Feral. She says, it's the Shianabi's turn to allow traffic. We must wait the appropriate hours until it is time for the Shushu group to enter this atmosphere.
How long do you think that'll be?
She looks, and like you can tell, like she resets her time to like on her computer to like Ferial time. She says approximately 3 hours until we will be allowed to pass. We'd rather not cause an incident, trust me. Those are a headache enough.
Go rolls her eyes, goes back to her in her chair, and just kind of like cranks up the music if she has to wait 3 hours before doing anything.
Sure, yeah, you guys are kind of just like stuck in space, and there's a few other ships around as well, like that are kind of like idling with you, basically. Some ships you can like see on the sensors at least that are like progressing down onto the planet, and it seems to correlate with like the rotation of the planet, right? Like once the planet enters like a night cycle, whichever side of the planet is during a day cycle, that's the side of the planet that's allowed to like enter the atmosphere, right? So yeah, so eventually 3 hours passes and you guys fly in, and Ferial is a beautiful planet. It is, again, it's a hybrid biosphere, so it's a lot of, it's similar to Earth, but, a little bit more extreme. There are, like, the mountains are much taller than what would be on Earth, and the forests are much bigger than what would be on Earth. The deserts are much larger than what would be on Earth, but it has all the same biomes that exist on Earth. But everything is a little bit like increased in size a little bit, and the cities actually like show that as well, right? Like the cities are built much larger and much sturdier, and the reason obviously is the seismic instability of the planet, right? Like it just tends to they have to build bigger and stronger to survive the like seismic instability. And she probably explains to you that seismic instability has been, it's been going on since, like, it's recorded in the history books that, like, during the silence is when it started. Like, a lot of people think it was caused by the scream or something like that, but that's when it's been going on, and the whole kind of vision of the planet changed when they had to start, like, building technology and, like, building much stronger and more durable things and that kind of stuff. So yeah. So you guys fly down, and you actually have to fly over the capital city, and you can see, like, as you guys fly over the capital city, you look down, and there appears to be a large collapsed portion of the city. And you guys are still, like, in the upper atmosphere, so you guys can just see it from, like, a distance. And you see that, like, you see that Natalia is, like, staring out the window, and she's got, like, her hand, like, on her head, like steepled her fingers like on her head so that she's clearly like thinking but not wanting to think too hard, and like her brain is hurting as she's observing like this large, almost crater like depression in the ground, but clearly like it was caused by the earth rumbling and, you know, ground opening up and swallowing things. And it's like visible from your distance, which is pretty significant. And she sends you she sends you like coordinates to go like land somewhere. She says that's where a convoy will meet her.
I think if Oscar is there, he would probably if he's looking at the window, he would say, "This is worse than I remember it."
Yeah, and she looks at you, Oscar, and she nods like silently. And she goes, "It has been getting worse. Strange thing, though. This seismic instability."
How is that?
She kind of like looks like almost as if she said too much, and she kind of just like she just shakes her head and is just like, "It is not my place to say."
Neither is it my place to ask, and yet.
Do you want to try and persuade her to give you more information?
Yeah, I mean,
she was most certainly alluding to something
really,
that like she knows that may like be important.
Well, let's see, because I think the risk of her becoming offended at me is very low, so I'm gonna take a shot.
Probably not. Yeah, she's probably not gonna get offended at you. She's the one who slipped up, right? Like if you inquire more, that's just you being curious.
So I got a 10.
Yeah. So you say like, oh well, but, and she kind of like she does that like look over her shoulder to make sure no one else is looking, and she said, well, yes, we know, Fortune, trust me, you've been playing Game of Thrones this whole time, okay? So she looks at you and she says, well, we've gotten some reports that the seismic disturbances have not been occurring on the Shianabi side of the planet. At least, not in the force they have been on ours. I fear that one of two things is true. Either the Shianabi will use this as a opening, or they are somehow affecting it. But due to relations, I cannot confirm.
Yeah, I think so Oscar lets that sink in, and then maybe he like, he's listening, but maybe he's waiting a little bit to say anything to see if she'll continue.
Right, yeah. So like, you let the pause
like
hang.
Yeah, does she continue without?
You rolled a 10. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I think that she probably says, she's like, if
with a penalty I rolled a 10.
Sure, yeah. I think she probably like continues. She says, to be honest, if it continues like this, and she motions to like the massive destruction down at the capital city, which again, the capital city's huge, so like it doesn't take up a major part of it, but it is significant. Like, it's gonna require years of reconstruction probably. She goes, I fear one of us will have to progress the conflict beyond its current state to find answers. And she kind of makes a nod towards maybe that's what she's been doing, right? Like,
yeah,
like the whole
Oscar gets it, so he's like, so I think I feel like Oscar, this is what he's used to dealing with, so I feel like he's reasonably savvy in discussing this sort of matter. If not in general, like maybe that's what this is representative of. And I think he at the very least would say, keep us in mind if any further need arises. Yes.
So yeah, I think she looks, and she like glances from like, she looks at you, and then she turns and she looks at the others and she goes, well, if I were not so bold to ask, but perhaps you could help me sooner than you think. Technically, the mission is not over until I am complete with you. The West Wind could make allowances for that. I can arrange it. I have dealings with... And she says, like, I have dealings with... And she goes to say a name, but she stops herself and she goes, with the men in charge of them.
With mystery telekinetic.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
As a player, yes,
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, sure, he, Oscar nods to that and he says, keep us apprised. We are done when you say we are.
She nods and she says, she like jokingly, she goes, Giorgio will not love it. And I think that like as you guys come down and you land in this like kind of secluded area, but far enough away from the city that you're not like in danger, I think that's probably where we cut to black. For the
cool.
Day.
Interesting. So we may be starting / ending a civil war. Well, not civil war, but a planet war. Yeah.
I mean, in this setting, that is a civil war. Like,
yeah.
A planetary war between two factions of the same planet is basically a civil war.
Yeah. That's always fun.
So. Cool.
I dig it.
Awesome. So, again, make sure you guys have goals. If you didn't fill them out today, sure you fill them out for next week. And yeah, I think that about does it. I know people want to go watch Game of Thrones, so
Yeah.
I'll go for another hour. I don't need to watch that.
I mean, neither do I personally, because I
think,
don't watch the
I
show
think
anyway.
Marjorie and I will figure this Civil War out, and I'll
It's fantastic.
stop the plates from shifting. And
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right, guys. Well, get gaming,
Awesome.
Absolutely.
and I will
see
catch you guys
later.
next
it was a
Sunday.
lot of fun.
And yeah, next Sunday we're gonna play again. I'm gonna deafen you guys real quick, but I'll be right back. Hello everyone from the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed today. If you're watching on YouTube, stay right here. If you're watching like a week late, it'll come back up. If you're watching on YouTube though, and it is not currently, what's next week's date? July 3rd. It is not currently July 3rd. Go ahead and tune in 5 o'clock EST, 5 p.m. EST. We're gonna be playing again, and we'll see what's going on with this Civil War nonsense. See how long that takes the crew to deal with. And yeah, I think that that about does it. From all of us to you, have a wonderful night.